Well, on May 16th, as part of Haitian Heritage Month, BRIC House will be filled with the music, art, and culture of Haiti for a day-long celebration to benefit Community to Community, a local organization that's been on the ground providing services and resources with their community partnership in Haiti for the past 5 years. Now, before we meet our guest today, let's take a look at a video which gives a glimpse into the work that's being done there.
Hey everybody, this is Marie-Hélène, and we thought we'd do the In Progress this month of December live and bring Petit Guave to you. So the team and I are here this week meeting with the community, and we've spent a really good time having great conversation about 2014 and our plans for 2015. And we're not surprised to learn that many of the problems that the community has here, the solutions are also right here in the community. So we're excited about what we're going to be implementing in 2015. But we just wanted to take a moment to thank you on behalf of the community, on behalf of C2C, and everyone here, to all of the folks who open the In Progress, who read it, who respond to it. We're grateful. We're especially grateful to our C2C neighbors who've made so much of the work that we've been able to accomplish here possible. You all remember that last year we had a planting strategy that we prepared in order for the community to plant 14,000 seedlings. Well, this year we were able to come back to see what was once a barren hillside full of pine trees and grass and other foliage. So we're very excited about that. We also want to thank the folks who came to Hope in a Future this year, because those funds were sent directly down to the community, who not only drew the plans and brought up the materials, but were able to build a really wonderful temporary school shelter for the pre-K and the kindergartners, who as recent as September were just sitting under tarp that was shredded and under sun and rain. Horrible conditions for any child to be learning. So that structure is completed, and they now not only use it for a school, but as a gathering place and also as a church. And I especially wanted to thank the C2C neighbors on behalf of the teachers, who we are now able to give a monthly stipend to. For those of you in education, you know the sacrifice that it takes to be a teacher. And the 9 teachers here, who are teaching over 315 students, walk up this mountain every day, some of them away from their families for a week, in order to pour into these students. We know that the future of everything that we're doing here lies in these kids.
Well, I think that BK Live's Haitian correspondent was just born.
From God's ears.
That was amazing.
That was absolutely amazing.
The work
amazing
and the
reporting and just the story. So
you're going to meet her in a second. Right now, we want to welcome back the woman you just saw in that video, the founder and CEO of Community to Community, Marie-Hélène Usibe. Great to see you again.
Excellent. That was very good. Thank you.
Really
Thank you,
awesome.
Brian and Aaron, for having me to be
the
back.
work is phenomenal. And just before we really delve into it, just to contextualize, the world is watching Nepal right now. They had a devastating earthquake that we've been told is the same magnitude as the one that struck Haiti those years ago. Almost 6,000 people are expected to be are reported dead right now. Before we talk about the progress, what can you offer in terms of advice to folks who are in Nepal right now and the world is watching them? How can they use this energy and this attention right now to really get their country back? Lessons learned in Haiti.
I would say 2 things that we've learned, and one is that there's 2 waves. The first wave is usually the first responders, right? So those are the folks who are trained to deal with that kind of devastation, you know, who have medical backgrounds, who've dealt with earthquakes, et cetera. Because especially you run out of time as soon as you hit the ground, because it's about finding as many people alive as you can. Because even in the earthquake in Haiti, folks were found 7, 8, 10 days later still alive, which was amazing.
Remember those pictures.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think right now the main thing is they're just trying to remove rubble and get to as many people as possible. Usually within 30 days is usually when the emergency response folks start to phase out, and sometimes the press leaves with them.
Okay.
And I think at that point it's important for people to remember that there's now a second wave of trying to get your life back on track. because there's no longer, quote unquote, an emergency, but there's still work to be done. That was, for me, what I realized I was going to be part of the second wave. So that's something I think people should keep just out of sight. It should not be out of mind.
Okay. So as part of this second wave, what have you learned in the last 5 years in response to to this tragedy that once again can be used as an example worldwide?
For us, I can say that there's two things. Once I left American Express, right? So right after the earthquake, I was there, and people were asking me, like, "What are you going to do? What are your plans?" And I remember thinking, like I said, I don't have first responder experience. I was pretty prayerful, just trying to figure out what to do. And when I realized that there was going to be a longer-term commitment required, that's when I was clear on what it was that I was going to do. So I'm so far away from my comfort zone now. 5 years later, like 5 years ago, I was sitting in my cube at my desk, right? And then I remember specifically it was during a meeting, and you know how in Charlie Brown cartoons, right? Yeah, at some point I was like, I can't hear anything he's saying anymore, and I knew it was time to go. So that's when I went and told my boss, like, I need to go help rebuild my dad's hometown. I feel that, and I was gone 30 days after that. And I would say the three things that I'm most proud of that I can actually share is, number one, the partnerships that we've built. You cannot do this work alone, right? You cannot do it without love and sacrifice. That's actually the truth, right? Because after the adrenaline is gone,
and the coffee.
And the coffee, right? The commitment is what keeps you. One of our team members, Olivia Robinson, is fond of saying that we went because of the earthquake, but we stayed because of the people, So the partnerships that we've gotten with the Haitian Educators League for Progress, ADIHA, the opportunity to come back to BRIC, for example, and give updates, those things have really solidified us to be able to stay for the last 5 years. And then subsequently, after that, it was also creating this community of C2C neighbors who understood that it wasn't going to happen overnight. You're talking about infrastructure building, right? So there is no like, oh, it's Monday and then Tuesday we're going to build the whole country. Right. That's not happening. And there are people who could see that vision of ours of creating a self-sufficient community, which takes time. So that's number two. And I would say the third thing is the people. I want to dispel a myth, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here to say this. Most of the time people see on television the downtrodden or the poor. Somehow it's translated that they have no skills, that they have no ideas, that they have no hope. Right. This is complete fallacy. When we arrived there 5 years ago, they had actually submitted to us proposals for the school, the water, a reforestation program that they had already started.
They were
ready.
Yeah.
They'd done a community assessment, everything. So I think it's important for people to know it's not that C2C got there and was like, well, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. That's not what happened. We knew immediately when they presented us with these plans that we work for them. So they're the ones really who should get the credit. We just came alongside.
So in that vein, I was seeing all these parallels between Nepal and Haiti and all these years later. So $13.34 billion in aid allocated by multilateral, bilateral agencies since 2010 to 2020. So 10 years worth, $13 billion, more than $4 billion from the US. So I wanted to ask you, knowing that just this country alone, without even us digging into our pockets, the government pledged $4 billion. Why do you have to have a fundraiser here when there's $4 billion in the kitty and not a lot of visible progress? Where's the disconnect?
The disconnect is on two levels. One, it's understanding how that system works. Most people think that when they give that money goes straight to the people that they're giving to. Right. That's not necessarily true. The majority of the funds were pledged doesn't mean that it actually went. Okay. That's number one. It's important that people who decide to donate to anything, you must be an informed giver. You need to know where the money trail is so that you can confirm that the funds you sent actually went to do what you purposed for them to do. Out of the billions of dollars that you're talking about, less than 2% went to Haitian firms or Haitian organizations on the ground to actually engage in this work. Right. So I will say that poverty is big business to a certain extent, right? And that's a good question. Why would I need to quit my job to start a nonprofit?
There's $4 billion just from us.
Not only $4 billion, but the research is that there's one nonprofit for every 1,000 Haitians.
Right.
And there's almost 13 million people in the country. So do the math. So you have to just think about, how does this work?
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, there's a great documentary called Haiti, Where Did the Money Go? That literally documents a lot of this, of informing the American public how their money is actually spent. And sometimes it just never reaches the ground. And that's what you need to make sure of. And the smaller organizations, it's easier for us to, we have less overhead and those kinds of costs to do it. But the bigger ones, like I said, I'm not necessarily a political person, but I've asked that same question. If $4 billion, Haiti should...
Politics, once you put those two words sort of in the...
I mean, Haiti should be
sentence.
Disneyland by the end of the week, right?
Absolutely.
But it's not. So again, where is the money? The kitty you're talking about, I don't know where that kitty is.
Okay. Now, we did see in the video that we started off with, the planting and in the school construction. I also understand that you have a water distribution system, purification system that you're helping to fund. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you know what? Before you tell us about it, let's take a look.
Oh.
We've got video.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. Every year, Haiti has its hurricane season. For months, every day, there are torrential downpours. Because there is no sewage system, the torrential downpour brings the wastewater into the street. Fecal matter, sewage, and animal waste get mixed into the drinking water sources. People are forced to wash their hands in this water, cook in this contaminated water, and the result? Cholera outbreaks killing thousands of adults and children in a matter of hours.
You know, we just take so many things for granted. We
really
really
is.
do.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. That is the truth. I think that you coming to that conclusion means that we've done our job. I have to tell the visual media team at C2C that you saw that, and the connection that you made was that I have clean drinking water, but everyone else
for granted.
does not.
Turn the faucet and there you go.
Yep, we're 50% completed the goal of actually Haiti.
All right, let's push you over that 50 by getting your butt to Brick House. Tell us about the benefit that's coming up. May 16th.
May 16th, Saturday, May 16th, 12 noon here at BRIC. So let me paint the picture for you. So the goal will be that we're going to transform this area and really bring a piece of Petit Guave, Haiti to Brooklyn, right? Which shouldn't be hard because Brooklyn's already eclectic as it is, and you guys have a great location. So what the day will entail, at noon, we're having an IT marché here, and basically it's an international marketplace. There's going to be folks that are providing goods and services to the community. Nadège Florimond, who is an oh, great!
Delicious.
Okay, well
It's
then.
worth it just for the food.
Okay, great.
Art,
I'm
food,
interrupting.
culture, people,
We have
a cause,
10
great
seconds
location.
left. Nadège and her bread pudding are
And
enough to get you
Bello
here.
is going to be here.
Phenomenal.
Haiti's international music ambassador is going to be here, and we have a wonderful play that tells the story of C2C.
All right.
It'll be a wonderful time had by
May
everyone.
16th, 12 noon
At
o'clock.
Brick House.
At
right
Brick
here.
House, exactly.
See you then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having
For the
me.
work. Keep coming back.
Thank you.
updating
Keep inviting me.
us.
I'll keep coming back.